Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the DFO Fantasy Show for Wednesday, October the 15th. I hope everyone's having a fine Wednesday morning. I am Brock Seguin, the fantasy managing editor of DailyFaceoff.com. This is the DFO Fantasy Show. It is Wednesday, which means it is Waiver Wire Wednesday with our guy, Beebs Bondy. We're going to roll through some of our favorite waiver wire pickups in 30% owned leagues, around that range. We're also going to give some deep league pickups and some banger league pickups as well. So you should leave here today with 10 players that are potentially available on your waiver wire. Hopefully more often than not they are, and you can scoop them up and start smashing your league. But before we get into Waiver Wire Wednesday, let's get to the news and notes for October 15th. Duchene left Tuesday's game with an upper body injury. It was a tough hit for him to take yesterday, and the Stars did not have an update on his status post-game. But as I mentioned, difficult hit. Looks like a guy that could miss some time. As you see here on screen, Glenn Gulletson did not like the hit, thought it was quite high, and I would agree. Next, we've got Aiden Hill, who left Tuesday's game with a lower body injury and did not return. Hill finished the first period, but did not return for the second period. If he misses time, Akira Schmid becomes Vegas' number one netminder from now, and he's looked really good. Obviously, small sample size so far. Carl Lindbom will likely get recalled to serve as the number two option if Hill misses time. But you know what? I think Vegas is probably on Carter Hart watch right now as well. They've been linked to him several times thus far, but even if he signs today or tomorrow, he's not eligible to play in the NHL until December 1st anyway, so he's not a short-term fix, even if Hill misses a month or two. But again, we don't know how long Hill's going to be out. We'll get an update shortly, but Schmid and Lindbom, likely the Vegas Golden Knights goaltending duo moving forward. And then last bit of news here, Jakub Slavin did not travel out west with the Hurricanes. He is going to miss at least the next 5 games. Long road trip for them. It sounds like he dealt with something throughout the preseason. It sounds like he's still kind of going through it. So they're just going to send him out early in the season, let him get back to 100% for when it matters most. And then a couple other quick updates that I talked about yesterday. Brady Tkachuk is expected to miss at least 4 weeks with a hand injury, but Drake Batherson for the Senators will return to the lineup on Wednesday. And then in the same game, Zach Benson is also likely to make his season debut on Wednesday. He skated with Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck in Buffalo's practice on Tuesday. Now we're going to introduce a new segment here at the DFO Fantasy Show. It's called Brock's Lock of the Day, a little betting segment for you. And it's presented to you by our friends at 5v5 Hockey. They have an outstanding shot prop tool, as you see here now. That gives you all the best shot props available every single day to help you sort through which props to bet on. They also have a fun little AI assistant you can ask best shot prop to bet on October 15th. So I'm not listening to the AI chatbot. We'll see if I'm right or if the chatbot is right. But if you want to go with the AI assistant, they have Sam Renzel over 1.5 shots on goal tonight as their pick. My pick is Jake Sanderson to hit over 3 shots on goal. So over 2.5, 3+ shots on goal. That pays out plus 100 right now. Sanderson has hit this line in every single game so far this season. The Sabres are giving up the 11th most shots against this season so far. And Sanderson is averaging a whopping 6.0 shot attempts per game so far. So if he just gets 3 of those attempts on net tonight, he'll hit the over here. So I like Jake Sanderson over 2.5 shots on goal at plus 100. But if you want to take a closer look at the 5v5 shot prop model, they do have a 7-day free trial available for you right now. So you've got all the shot props here available for you and help you win some cash tonight. So first Brock's lock of the day, or of the year, Jake Sanderson over 2.5 shots at plus 100. Now let's get to Waiver Wire Wednesday with Beebs Bondy. Beebs, what's up, bud?
I totally thought your lock of the day was going to be bringing me in, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we've upgraded." That's what an intro I'm going to have here. And then it turned out Jake Sanderson got all the love, but he deserves it. Brock, I'm fired up. We have we've kind of crushed it so far in this segment. We're only 1 in, but we are basically 100% on it. And let's look to keep the good vibes going. A lot of favorites and friends of the show have just absolutely crushed it this year. If you guys kind of listen to our breakout, or basically our positional previews, a lot of our breakouts that we had are breaking out, and it's beautiful to see. I know we've both been kind of popping off, and let's just continue to do that. And yeah, I'm loving this hump day special we got going here.
Yeah, it's absolutely great. I like being able to bring 10 waiver wire pickups to the listeners every single Wednesday. Really like this new format. We posted a poll on Twitter whether people are enjoying the new format or if they miss the old long episodes. And so far, this new format has been well received. And once again, if you are a loyal podcast listener, all of these episodes are also now available on YouTube. So follow the DFO Fantasy and Betting YouTube channel to catch these episodes there if you'd rather see our mugs and not just listen. But
Yeah, I was going to say as well, too, with 7 days in between these episodes, a lot of stuff can happen in fantasy hockey. We could see different players take different roles, different lines change. And in that case, feel free to follow Brock or I on Twitter. We're usually on top of it. I try to stay on top of every power play one move for fantasy, just kind of let you guys know who's in the best position to succeed. And just little things that we're offering to get you to win that championship this year, because we're all going to do it. And we're all going to have sore arms from holding trophies in our arms. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, I've been off to a pretty good fantasy hockey start, so hopefully the good vibes continue. But as I mentioned, it's Waiver Wire Wednesday, so let's get into the picks. It's going to feel like you're watching an episode of the Mighty Ducks here, I think, or like D2 Mighty Ducks movie, because, the Ducks are in a row on this one. But take it away here with our first pick up here, Beebs.
Alrighty. So I absolutely love an all Ducks episode, and they deserve it. These boys are not getting the respect they deserve at all. And that includes Cutter Gauthier, who's currently 38% owned. He's PP1, he's L1. And Cutter himself was on one of my breakout candidates. He also is basically a must draft coming in. And I loved Cutter just because we saw all the trends that pushed towards him becoming a fantasy hockey superstar towards the end of last year. And Cutter's come into the gate and done exactly that. He's currently averaging 19:05 time on ice, which is excellent. We've talked about that. We want someone close to 20. And last night, unfortunately, only a 2-shot on goal game, which brought his average of 7 per game down to 5.3 shots per game through the first 3 games played. That'll put Cutter Gauthier on a pace of 437 shots on goal across the 82-game season. That would break some records. That would do some things. That is Alex Ovechkin-esque, and that is a lot better than the 191 shots on goal he had last year. Now, I've kind of talked about it. We see a lot of guys flirt with 150. So to see a guy go 190 in his rookie year was just a sign of kind of what Cutter has in his bag. There's a clip going around right now on Twitter of basically says Cutter Gauthier shoots everything. And it's a hilarious little clip where he's just walking around firing every puck. And as funny as it is, it's actually incredible to watch from a fantasy standpoint, because you know what happens when those pucks go towards the net, get some assists, get some tips, yada, yada. Cutter's kind of did it in the exact way that, not to pump our tires, but that we called it happening. He's averaging 4 minutes and 56 more seconds than last year, which is just, that's gonna create success. And with that, he has 3 goals in his first 3 games. I did not even mention that. So the big step forward for Anaheim this year, and one piece where we knew Cutter and basically the rest of the boys we're going to mention kind of needed a hand was their power play. And after having an abysmal 11.8% power play last season, which I've ripped into basically every episode we've talked about Jackson Lacombe, they now have a 36.4 power play percentage to be second in the NHL through 3 games. Obviously, it's a very small sample size, but I don't think at any point last year they had a stretch where they went 36.4% on the power play. So, Brock, I'm sorry to take the low hanging fruit, because Cutter is my boy, but he's a must add right now. Basically in a 10-team up, I believe. It doesn't matter if it's a banger or not. This guy's shot totals are insane. He should flirt with 300. I originally made a joke about that in our preseason episode. It's not a joke anymore. It's a pure reality, and it's one we love to see. And we also mentioned for him to take a step forward, all the other pieces around him would. And Brock, why don't we talk about those other pieces taking a step forward? Because Anaheim, it is fun to watch. They're like Montreal on the late slate for me. It's great. You just throw them on. Like, who's that guy? Oh, he's fun. Who's that guy? Oh, he's fun. Who you got, Brock?
Yeah, I think like the one thing, again, these are small sample sizes. So I think one thing we should caution, like this is a team that the only kind of like good defensive team they played against, they did only score 1 goal, but then they scored 7 against the Sharks and 4 against the Penguins. So, I do think that maybe some of the, some regression is going to hit here, and they're going to start playing some real competition here. But they're all in really good spots. And as you mentioned, Cutter himself, like the increased minutes, the shot volume, it's just unbelievable. I'm very depressed at his start, because in our Dynasty League, I was drafting 3 drafts at the same time, and I missed that it was my pick in the Dynasty League, and I was planning on picking Cutter Gauthier in that
Say?
round, and it auto-picked me Erik Carlsson. So really, really tough look for me there. That's what happens when you try to do 3 drafts at the exact same time.
I got excited though because last year, if people who watch the show remember, I drafted Chris Kreider on accident while lifting during a draft. So I was hoping Brock's pick this year we could rip on him for that, but it turns out Erik Carlson's not a terrible choice at that spot.
No, Chris Kreider, we joked about him fixing the Ducks power play, and so far he has. And I think what's crazy is like that top unit doesn't even really feature the guys like McTavish, Gauthier, and sometimes they're just sitting on the bench and like, I wish they'd be out there, but the top unit's been great. And the top unit features my next player. I've got Leo Carlsson, center eligible, 23% rostered from the Anaheim Ducks as well. I think what's keeping his roster percentage down is the fact that he is just a strict center. So you obviously need to have a lack of center depth or just need to make room on your roster for a strict center. I think that's more challenging. So if you prefer the wingers on this episode, I think that it's completely fine to bypass Carlson and if you need that help at that position. But Carlson's a player that I talked about several times during the preseason and a player that I really expected to take that next step this season after a very, very strong finish to last year. He has 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points, including 3 on that now dominant power play. So if you go back to the start of February, which is where he really started to take off last year, Carlson has 12 goals, 22 assists. That's 34 points in 34 games. So exactly a point per game player, which is tied for top 30 in the NHL during that time. So I really, really like what Carlson's done over the last, 4 or 5 months of hockey here, and a guy that's really turning himself into a really good NHL player. And I think the one thing that's almost holding him back is the fact that Mason McTavish and Cutter Gauthier and that line is just so dominant. I mean, they still got Troy Terry on the third line at times, with Mikael Granlund, and it's limited his ice time a little bit. I think we expected a little bit more of an increase in ice time, still hovering around 18 minutes. It's been good enough to get the job done. And so far, Carlson has formed an excellent partnership at 5v5 and on the power play with Chris Kreider. But just focusing on 5v5 here for a second, through 3 games, they have generated 26 scoring chances and 13 high danger looks in just over 30 minutes together. So the numbers, again, small sample size, a couple of easy matchups mixed in there, but so far so good. I don't think we expect them to continue at that scoring chance level, but it's a good sign of things to come. Hopefully.
Did you happen to catch both of those Kreider goals last night, Brock?
Yeah, classic Kreider stuff.
Plant yourself right in front of that net, and Carlson is just fantastic at making the first dish, and he did it both times. And Kreider could be in for a nice little resurgence here. It was hilarious to see, just classic Chris, New York Chris out in Anaheim.
Yeah, I think we talked about Kreider being like an okay late round scoop or even early season pickup because he's going to score goals. And if the hit volume comes back in banger leagues, he's going to be valuable. He's just a bit of a one-trick pony. But, I mean, if he scores 35 goals, who really cares?
Yeah, literally, and that's kind of how I feel about my next pickup, but we'll cross that bridge down the line there.
Yeah, I'll keep going here because we've got another Duck, all 3 of our Ducks in a row here. So let's move on to Beckett Senneke. He is 16% rostered from the Anaheim Ducks, current right wing eligible only. But Senneke looked like a player that was going to open the season on the Ducks' 4th line, but an injury to Ryan Strome right before the start of the season kind of thrust Senneke into that top 6 role, and he's thriving. The trio of Senneke, McTavish, and Cutter Gauthier has been simply ridiculous together. They've created 33 scoring chances and 21 high danger looks through just 3 games. I mean, averaging 10 scoring chances at 5v5 per game, 2 high danger looks per game. It's just insane stuff. Sorry, 7 high danger looks per game. It's just insane stuff that they've done at 5v5. And then obviously the power play, as you mentioned, looked good. They're all in the second unit though, so they don't get maybe as much rope as the first unit, the way that first unit has clicked so far. But what they're doing at 5v5 makes them, an instant pickup. Gauthier and Senneke, and he's looked excellent so far. He's not going anywhere. And you guys will like this one. According to Sports Logic, his 0.67 individual expected goals per game is currently top 10 in the NHL so far this season. So, again, a guy that's going to go to the dirty areas, similar to Kreider, plant his butt in front of the net and put in some goals. We've seen him have, a really, really good start to his NHL career and a guy that I expect to continue to flourish in this Anaheim Ducks top 6. So I really like Senneke at 16% rostered. Obviously, Cutter, I think, would be the first pick, but he's almost up to 40% owned. So I think Beckett is much more likely to be available to you. Beebs, who is your second pickup?
Yeah, I will have to say this might be the last episode we're allowed to talk about Cutter, because I fully expect them to jump above to
For
percentages that we can't, and that's kind of what I hope happens. So that's why I wanted to get my final Cutter pop off out of the way. One final thing on Senneke there. I don't know about you, but I find it hilarious seeing the 4-5 walk out of corners with the puck. It looks like he should be a D-man with that number, and then he just makes insane plays. So those 9 shots, they're not just flicks on net. The guy actually, like you said, high danger scoring chances. There's something here, and he's kind of a forgotten prospect with how much is going on in Duckland right now. So definitely good to see him doing well. I mentioned it kind of in the Chris Kreider-esque light. Talk about players who love to put the puck in the net and kind of struggle to get those apples, and that is Shane Pinto, currently 31% owned out in Ottawa. He's power play 1, he's line 3, and he has 5 points, 4 goals in 3 games played. And in those 3 games, he has 9 shots on goal, and that's why I love Shane Pinto. Currently averaging 18-21 across all time on ice. Pinto's kind of come flying out of the gate to start 25-26. He's like a Josh Norris, where we've never really seen him be fully healthy, but there's definitely a goal scorer in that body. Also, like Josh Norris, he does not enjoy shooting the puck on net despite being a goal scorer. So it's been nice to see Pinto kind of come out of the gate here and average 3 shots per game. It looks like the team might have told him, you're a goal scorer. You've had 2 20-plus goal seasons before you're 24 years old. Why not start using that? Pinto came out of the gate hot because Drake Batherson was hurt and there was a spot on PP1. So I originally was a bit hesitant to start suggesting this fella because, Batherson's expected back. I believe it's tonight or tomorrow whenever Ottawa plays. I believe it's tonight. And when that happens, we were all expecting Pinto to get the boot to PP2, but then we went and saw Brady Tkachuk have an up to 4-week-long injury on what looks like his wrist. And I say up to 4 weeks because there's still speculation that he could have surgery, so we don't really know where that one could go. With that, we don't love to see a superstar get hurt, but we do love to see a spot on PP1 remain. And with Pinto playing the way he is, I fully expect him to remain in that spot. As we mentioned, his red flags are shots on goal. He's at 9. And he's always been a player who kind of cannot get assists despite, not looking at or despite not necessarily shooting that much, which kind of blew my mind. Pinto's never had more than 18 assists in a season, and maybe him just being on that top power play, he can get a couple to trickle along on the side. If he can stay in this position while playing 18-21 a night and stay healthy, as I mentioned, we can kind of look for a late breakout at 24 years old. But Pinto seems like the number 1 shooting option on that power play and when he's on the ice. And while he's kind of cooking and putting those pucks towards the bin, I'm going to jump all over Pinto here. I believe he has double position eligibility on Yahoo. That's nice. As you mentioned, for someone like Carlson, we've definitely seen that number stay low because he is strictly center. So Pinto filling a couple holes there in your lineup, and certainly worth a look now that Tkachuk is out. Ottawa has to lean on someone, and I'm half expecting it to be Pinto, Batherson, basically who they have that's healthy.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get caught for gambling and suspended for half the year, he should be fine. My next pickup,
stay away from that.
Another big rig that likes to park his body in front of the net, Dmitri Voronkov, 14% owned in Yahoo leagues, left wing eligible. Voronkov, Monahan, Marchenko looked every bit as good so far this year as they did last year. Voronkov has tallied 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists through 3 games. And that line has generated 24 scoring chances at 5v5 so far in just 3 games. So nearly 10 scoring chances per game at 5v5. Really, really good numbers there. Another positive sign has been the small increase in shot volume for Voronkov. So right now, currently playing under 16 minutes a night. If that gets up over 17 and a half, a couple extra minutes here for Voronkov, which I think is certainly in the cards if this line continues to dominate the way it has. I mean, Kirill Marchenko just looks like an absolute star. So having Voronkov on that line, I think is going to be great for him this year. And like I said, just a little bit more playing time could bump that shot volume up even further and really turn this guy into a potential 30-goal scorer this season. So a little bit more readily available at 14% roster, but players that are definitely available in a lot of leagues are our deep league pickups. So actually, sorry, you got one more regular pickup before we get to our deep league pickups.
Yeah, the forgotten prospect almost gets forgotten again is Matty Beniers out in Seattle, currently 15% owned and currently only 22 years old, despite entering his 5th NHL season. Kind of blew my mind on that one. Matty Beniers is easily and locked into power play 1 and line 1 out in Seattle. Currently has 3 points in 3 games played. When I wrote this, he had 3 and 2. He could not get on the board last night, despite Seattle themselves getting on the board quite a few times. I believe they had 4 or 5 last night. But Matty Beniers has 6 shots on goal across those 3 games, and he's averaging 18.27 per night. Pretty decent. If I were to tell you that there was a 22-year-old who has 2 20-plus goal seasons already under their belt, and is just sitting there in the free agency, most fantasy owners would be ecstatic at that ceiling and would probably jump on it just to be like, hey, where can this go? Oddly enough, we're kind of watching Beniers go the opposite way. I think it's, well, we all kind of know, strictly due to the fact that he plays in Seattle. He's had a couple down years, and the strict center eligibility is clearly hurting his own percentage. But he's off to a very hot start with a goal, 2 assists, and 6 shots on goal through 3 games. It kind of looks, he just through the eye test, it looks like we're kind of seeing the Matty Beniers that broke in the league that got people super excited just a couple years back. Much like Shane Pinto, his biggest knock in the last couple of years has been his shots on goal. His career high is only 148. I often rip on dudes who can't even hit 150. So here we are. But he's currently on pace to beat that, as he's on pace for 164 shots on goal. Still not fantastic, but I do like just generally how many pucks he's putting towards the net. It's a great sign of things to come for a player entering his year 23 season. Seattle's proven that they're kind of willing to put it all on Beniers. He signed a 7 by 7.14 contract last year, and that just shows that they're willing to give him the reins and willing to let him kind of flourish. He is a former 2nd overall pick. Someone I mentioned who's put in 20 goals before, and someone sitting in a fantastic spot. And the reason why I have him here is just, if you're looking at the players who are maybe 10 to 20% owned, glaringly enough, a lot of them are not on power play 1. A lot of them are not even in the top 6. And if you're in a non-banger league, Beniers just falls perfectly in the category of he's in the position to succeed. He has the pedigree. Why can't he take that next step forward? I still believe we haven't seen the best of what's there for Beniers. And if he can get those shots a little bit more up, and if we can maybe see an uptick of 30 seconds to a minute on his time on ice, 18.27 is excellent, but get him closer to 19.5, 20, we could see him take that step forward that we've kind of, I don't know, personally, I've been just demanding for the last 3 years. So I like Beniers a lot. And as I mentioned, as long as he's on power play 1 and line 1, he definitely has a look on my roster, at least as a spot starter.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's encouraging is the shot volume this year. The shot attempts have been skyrocketing. Like, he hasn't hit the net quite as often as you'd like to see, but 18 shot attempts through 3 games. That's a 492 shot attempt pace. His previous career high was 322. So I feel like last year it was kind of similar. Like, I feel like coming out of the gate, he started shooting more, and you're like, oh, this could be a sign of things to come. And then it took off, a downturn towards the end of the season. But his first 30 games last year, he was on pace for 311 shot attempts. So, he finished with 322. So it's definitely encouraging to see him fire, maybe on pace to fire 170 more shots towards the net this year. Should definitely go a long way. And that line's had some pretty good success so far, generated 17 scoring chances and 10 high danger looks through 3 games. Now, let's get to our deeper league pickups, and I will go first here with Jackson Blake, right wing eligible only for the Carolina Hurricanes, currently just 9% rostered on Yahoo. Blake is a player that I've really liked over the last year, and his increased role to start this season has yielded just fantastic results. I was a Blake fan last year due to his strong shot volume in a limited role. Now he's playing over 17 minutes per game and is averaging 5.0 shots on goal and 6.7 shot attempts per game. The shot on goal total, it'll probably come down. I don't expect him to hit the net with that much regularity, but the 6.7 shot attempts per game is great. The shots on goal per 60 right now, though, is the best in the NHL. So, it's hard to beat that. If you're not familiar with Jackson Blake, he was a Hobey Baker finalist in 2024. The 2 other finalists last year were Beebs' boy, who we already mentioned on today's show, Cutter Gauthier, and the eventual winner of the Hobey Baker, you might have heard of him, Macklin Celebrini. So he was in great company that year. He had 60 points in 40 games at North Dakota. So definitely a high offensive pedigree here with Jackson Blake. The shot volume is insane. I talked about it a ton during the preseason that I was very excited to see what Carolina's second line would look like with Logan Stankoven moving into the middle to play with Andrei Svechnikov and Jackson Blake. And so far, so good. They've looked really, really solid. 17 scoring chances in 3 games, 6 high danger looks. So they've been good. The shot volume has been insane for Blake. Playing over 17 minutes a night right now is unreal for a guy that played, I believe it was under 14 minutes a season ago. So, like, He's listed as a deep league pickup here at 9% rostered, but honestly, like in 12-team leagues, I'm already ready to get him on the roster if you've got the room, because the shot volume, you just can't beat it. And it's not like it's something new. He shot the puck a ton in a limited role. If he continues to play 17 minutes, he's going to shoot the puck a ton. He's going to score goals this year. I really, really like Jackson Blake this season.
Yeah, and I know with Beniers, I was a little nervous just seeing when we put this together, we usually do it on Tuesday night, and every person has a game in front of them. Jackson Blake showed up last night and just continued his shots on goal prowess that he's had going, and that led to the pill going in the back of the net. So you love to see that. For me, I'm going a little bit deeper on this one, but also a pickup that I really like at the moment. I think is a little sneaky. It's Phillip Heedel out in Vancouver. Thanks to Tyson Cole, who works over at Canucks Nation. He tweeted the other day about Chytil taking over the PP1 spot in the third period in Vancouver, and that was enough for me to kind of jump on. Just a fantastic start for Heedel here. As mentioned, he didn't start on PP1 because Evander Kane did, but he supplanted him just 3 games into the season, and he did that due to probably his 9 shots on goal across those 3 games. He's just been ripping the puck a bunch. Despite only having 6 points in 15 games after his trade last season, he was involved in the JT Miller deal. Heedel still peppered the net with 44 shots on goal during those 15 games, which was close to just 3 shots on goal per game, which is what he's doing right now. So these early numbers are nothing new to the young forward in Vancouver, and to see them kind of come together early on here is exactly what I was hoping for. This year, he's averaging a career high 16:48 time on ice, and I think that might be something that we need to see him take his game that next level, and to see kind of where Vancouver valued him after that trade last season. With that shooting success has come 2 goals this season, which we've loved to see. And when you're looking at deep league targets, it's very rare to find a goal first guy like this, and one who's going to shoot at this level. Heedel's also playing in Vancouver's top 6, so even during 5v5, he's a solid player to have on the ice. His career high previously was 22 goals and 45 points in 74 games, and as I mentioned, that was below his current 16:48 time on ice. So if you give this guy a bit more time to flourish, a little bit more just health, I guess that's kind of the common theme with a lot of these guys that we get excited about. They just need to stay healthy, and if he could do that, Vancouver needs a spark right now, and we're not seeing it from their superstars, unfortunately. As a guy who was big on EP40 entering the year, and it seems like Chytil might be their short-term answer right now. As long as he's on power play 1 and shooting the puck like he is at 3% owned, I think he's definitely worth a look. And if he can help that power play and he can remain there and keep Kane on the outside, we're definitely going to see this percentage jump into double digits in the upcoming weeks. And might as well get ahead of that one now.
Yeah, moving up to power play 1 certainly improves the stock. I remember he looked really good after getting traded to the Canucks last year, and then obviously just kind of ran into what he usually runs into, and that is injuries. But if he can stay healthy, he's a player that has looked good in his short time in Vancouver so far. So let's get on to our banger league targets to close out the show. I will start with Bobby McMann of the Toronto Maple Leafs, currently 5% rostered. McMann will provide plenty of category coverage for you in banger leagues. He can produce offensively because he's skating on a line with John Tavares and William Nylander, evidenced by his 2 goals and 1 assist through 4 games. But he's also averaging 4.0 shot attempts, 2.5 shots on goal, and 3.5 hits per game so far. So the hits are up a little bit. I think he averaged closer to 2.5 hits per game last year, but that's still solid. A guy that's going to easily be over 100 hits. But if he continues at this 3.5 hit pace, I mean, he's going to be a banger league asset all throughout the season. The trio of McMahon, Tavares, and Nylander hasn't been quite as great at 5v5 so far this season, but they were absolutely excellent together last year. So I really do expect them to find their footing before too long. Obviously, Nylander, Tavares, 2 fantastic players. McMahon has looked really good early in the season. So if he keeps playing around 16 minutes a night, I think he can really do a nice job maintaining this shot volume, maintaining this hit volume. And then the points are just going to come. They're going to come naturally playing with Tavares and Nylander. He's not going to be a guy that's going to go out and have 70 points, obviously, but he's a guy that can contribute across the board here in banger leagues, and he's available in 95% of leagues. Beebs, who is your banger league target?
Yeah, I don't think Bobby Mack's going to be 5% for much longer. I'm actually amazed because there's usually like a Leafs tax on players, and usually their own percentages are a little bit higher. But I will say full disclosure, if Bobby Mack is out there, take him above this next name. But I got another bang league target for you, and it's Colton Dach out in Chicago. Not Kirby Dach. It is Colton Dach. Colton Dach loves to hit people. I have learned that across his short time in the NHL. Dach could be this year's Kiefer Sherwood. I don't say that lightly, because that's quite a step forward in banger leagues. But this guy's currently leading all NHLers in hits with 23. So that was a pretty obvious reason to say, wow, he's killing it in banger leagues. But the thing is, he had 86 hits in 25 games last year as a rookie. So clearly he's not afraid to throw that body around. And when you're doing that as a 21-year-old rookie, you're going to enter your next season and averaging 5.75 hits per game so far in 2025-26. He will pay off significantly in that regard. But here's the other thing about Colton Dach is he is occupying Chicago's top line with Connor Bedard right now. Bedard's struggling a bit out of the gate. He has 3 points in 4 games. I wouldn't call it struggling, but he's not necessarily lighting the world on fire. But with that said, Colton Dach's been a great little line mate for him. He has 2 assists across 4 games. He's on pace for 40 across a full season, which if he can give you, near half a point per game, and maybe not the 471 hits he's on pace for, but anywhere close to above 250 to 300, you'll definitely have some value that you can have on the bottom of your roster at 3%. As I mentioned, he's 22 years old. He's Chicago's 2021 second-round pick, so there's a bit of pedigree here. There's a reason he's in that top 6, and there's a reason why he's going to keep on hitting, and that is Chicago just doesn't have the puck that much. They're fun to watch. There's a lot of flair there when they do have the puck, but they don't. And we like to see, guys excel in banger leagues when their team does not have the puck. They get blocks, they get hits, yada, yada. And what a perfect target for Colton Dach. So I hope he kind of chills on the 5.75 hits per game, because I could see him landing on the injured reserve real quick if he just keeps throwing rigor like that. But even if he keeps it at about 3-4 a game, Colton Dach's going to carry his value in banger leagues. So this is both a target in banger and deep leagues. Certainly someone to keep an eye on. But at 3% owned, if you're in a top 6 on a power play too, and you hit more than, I don't know, half of a Toronto Blue Jays roster, then you got looks for me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously some offensive pedigree here too, right? Really strong year in the AHL last year, but I mean, that hit total is insane. The only knock I have on Colton Dach is the number 34 for a forward is absolutely
so weird, dude.
Outrageous. But okay, that is going to do it for Waiver Wire Wednesday. But I do have one other thing to show you really quickly. If we could pull up the screen share here, we just launched it at DailyFaceoff.com. So this is our weekly schedule. You've always seen the weekly schedule. Now we've got strength of schedule, which, if you follow me on Twitter, if you use my resources, I release a strength of schedule article every single Monday with streaming pickups. But now we have it living on the site where you can visit it whenever you want. You don't have to wait for Monday for me to post it. And all you got to do is go to our weekly schedule, which is in the nav bar up top. Click on strength of schedule. When you do, you get a look here at the strength of schedule. We've got, this week, strength of schedule, opponent rating, light nights, games remaining in the week. What's so nice about the new version of it is I post on Monday, I write about it, is what it is. Now, the strength of schedule updates as the week goes on. So as you see here, as we talk about this on Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday is now grayed out. So we've only got 5 days left of the week. The light nights are in red. The heavier nights are in blue. So it's easy to identify the light nights, but if you want to sort by light nights, you can. If you want to sort by strength of schedule, you can. This is the remaining strength of schedule for this week. So remaining three light nights, Utah, Chicago, Detroit. Of the 3, Utah, Chicago have the easiest schedule or most friendly schedule. Detroit is in some hot water with Florida, Tampa, and Edmonton. So really excited about this tool. I love that it updates every single day and you get a new look. So if you're looking for streamers for the rest of the week, you can do it at any time during the week. It doesn't just have to be Monday. Monday is obviously an ideal time to try to find ones that you can just spend one pickup on and use for the whole week. But again, if you need pickups, especially for the weekend, that's great. Another thing you can do is go ahead to next week. If you want to get prepared for next week, you can already move ahead, sort by strength of schedule. So next week, Buffalo Sabres, best schedule. The Calgary Flames, 4 light night games. So you can go ahead weeks at a time to prepare yourselves for future weeks as well. Not having to wait for me to post this on Monday should be definitely beneficial for your fantasy hockey team. So very happy That's now live on the website. So once again, you just got to go to schedule, strength of schedule, and then you get the new look at everything. So there you have it. That is the strength of schedule. That was the DFO Fantasy Show for Wednesday. Another great Waiver Wire Wednesday here with Beebs. Beebs, thank you so much for joining me as always. We will now head back to our caves, start confirming goalies and line combinations and all the things that we love to do at Daily Faceoff.
Yeah, and I can't wait to watch our favorites light the lamp again, and we'll return next week to pop off with all you guys.
See you back here next Wednesday.
Peace!
Thanks for watching this video. If you want more great fantasy hockey and betting content from myself, Carter Hutton, Matthew Barnaby, and the rest of the DFO analysts, make sure you subscribe to the DFO Fantasy and Betting YouTube channel today and never miss a minute.